Good evening, guys. All are getting my screen and voice. Please confirm. Online candidates. So yesterday we discussed the course content in the AWS case. So what topics we are going to cover in the AWS cloud we discussed in yesterday's session. Today is the day 2. Right. So yesterday first session we have completed, guys. In first session we have started discussing course content. Right. So the entire course we have divided into 7 parts. As part 1 we are going to discuss introduction of the DevOps, guys. Once again I am telling, to attend for this course, to attend for this DevOps with AWS cloud, right, there is no prerequisites, right? So everything we are going to discuss. Prerequisites also we are going to cover. So that's why here I mentioned there is no prerequisite for to attend for this course, guys. Okay, the entire course we have divided into multiple parts. As part 1 we are going to cover introduction of DevOps. Part 2, we are going to discuss Linux operating system and shell scripting. The main prerequisites for DevOps and AWS cloud is Linux commands only. So here we are going to discuss in detail about the Linux commands. That's why here I mentioned prerequisites are nothing. Okay. After this, what we are going to cover? AWS cloud. How many services we are going to discuss in AWS cloud? 20 plus services we are going to discuss in AWS cloud. Here I mentioned all the 20 plus services what we are going to discuss in the AWS cloud. And here we are going to cover Terraform and Ansible also, guys. Okay. So what is part 4? As part 4, we are going to discuss DevOps tools. How many DevOps tools we are going to discuss? 15 plus DevOps tools we are going to cover. 20 plus AWS services, 15 plus DevOps tools we are going to discuss. What tools we are going to cover? See, guys. Right, before going to start actual tools, I will give brief about the DevOps case. Right, as a DevOps engineer, what is your roles and responsibilities? I will discuss it here. See, guys, first here, so I am going to discuss introduction of DevOps tools. DevOps tools, guys. Here I am going to talk about the tools. What tools we are going to cover? Those tools introduction I will talk it here. And at the beginning, as part 1, we are discussing introduction of the DevOps. There I will talk what is DevOps, why DevOps, right? So life cycle of the DevOps, what is SDLC, methodologies in SDLC, all those things I will discuss in part 1. And in part 4, we are going to start with introduction of DevOps tools. What tools we are going to cover in this course, that I am going to discuss it here. Okay, after this, here I am going to discuss as a DevOps engineer, what is your roles and responsibilities in the company? What is your day-to-day activities in the company? That we are going to discuss here. Right here, as a DevOps engineer, day-to-day activities, guys. DevOps engineer, right, roles and responsibilities. Roles and responsibilities we are going to discuss. And first we are going to talk DevOps tools introduction. Next we will talk about the as a DevOps engineer, what is your roles and responsibilities we are going to cover. So next here we will talk about the first tool. The first tool in the DevOps is Maven. Maven we are going to discuss it here, guys. What is this Maven? What is this Maven? Maven is a build tool, guys. Right, Maven is a build tool. What other build tools we have? Right, earlier people used it to work with and guys, but now and are outdated. No one using and guys. Now we are going to work with Maven or Gradle only, guys. Maven, Gradle, these two are the build tools. Here we are going to learn Maven, guys. What is this Maven? Maven is a build tool. As a build tool, we are going to learn Maven, guys. Okay, next what tool we are going to discuss? After this Maven, we are going to understand GitHub. What is this GitHub? GitHub is a source code repository tool. GitHub is a source code repository tool, guys. Developers will write the application. Developers, as per client requirement, developers will develop the application. Once application development is completed, where they will put that code inside the source code repository only. Right, in the companies, right, what source code repositories they are using, guys? Nowadays, companies are using either GitHub or Bitbucket also, guys. They are using Bitbucket also as source code repository. Here, what tool we are going to learn? GitHub we are going to learn as a source code repository, guys. GitHub is what? Source code repository. Source code repository tool is. GitHub is a source code repository tool. Next, what tool we are going to understand? First, guys, right, we will talk about the Maven. Maven is a builder tool. Then we will discuss about the GitHub. Here, GitHub is the source code repository tool. Then which tool we will talk, guys, here? The next important tool is Jenkins. What is the Jenkins? What is Jenkins here? Jenkins is a deployment tool. Right? If you want to deploy the application in the server, right, by using Jenkins only, we will deploy this. By using Jenkins, we will write the CI/CD pipelines. In the CI/CD pipeline, we need to configure all the stages which Jenkins has to perform. Right? So where we need to write the stages, guys? In the CI/CD pipeline, we need to write the Jenkins file. In that Jenkins file, we need to configure. What we need to configure? Clone the project from the GitHub repository, build the project, next, right, do the code review, next create the Docker image and upload that image in the Docker Hub, deploy that image in the Kubernetes cluster. For all these activities, we need to write stages in the Jenkins file. Okay, as per our configuration in the Jenkins file, Jenkins will perform all those activities. Here, who is going to take care of the deployment process? Jenkins will take care of the deployment process, guys. Okay, and here Jenkins is a automation CI/CD process tool, guys. Continuous integration, continuous deployment, automation process tool is Jenkins here. Okay, next, guys, what is Jenkins? Jenkins is the deployment tool. Deployment tool. Here we are going to understand how to create the CI/CD pipelines. How to create the CI/CD pipelines. Here we are going to understand. Right. So once Jenkins is completed, then what we are going to understand here? After Jenkins, what we will discuss, guys? Right. We will discuss Sonar Cube, guys. What is Sonar Cube? Sonar Cube is the code coverage tool. Sonar Cube. What is this? Right. Code coverage tool, guys. Code review tool, or else you can take code review tool. What review it will do? Developers are developing the applications as per client requirement. Right? We need to verify before going to deploy the application in the servers. We need to verify whether developers are followed the proper coding standards or not. Whether developers are written the unit test cases or not. All the unit test cases are successful or not. All those things we need to verify. Right. So is it possible to review manually? It is not possible, guys. A project can contain n number of files. Right. You can't able to verify all those files manually. For that, here we are using one tool that is called Sonar Cube. By using Sonar Cube, what we can do? We can review the code. As per coding standard, they have developed or not. Right, so they have written the unit test cases or not. All the unit test cases passed or not. Code coverage as per industry standards. Minimum code coverage should be 80%, guys. Right, code coverage 80% above is there or not. All those things will be reviewed by the Sonar Cube only. Right. So if Sonar Cube review is success, then only your application is eligible for the deployment. Otherwise, your application will not eligible for the deployment. Okay. In the Sonar Cube, we are going to learn how to create the quality profile, how to create the quality gates. Everything we are going to understand. Quality profile means what? Set of rules. Set of rules, guys. For every programming language, we have separate quality profiles are available. In each quality profile, set of rules are available. Right, those rules Sonar Cube will verify as per those rules only, guys. Sonar Cube will review as per those rules only. Right, here if you take Java, in Java we have almost 300 plus rules are available in the Java quality profile. Sonar Cube will verify all 300 plus rules in your application. Right, so here sometimes, that your manager can request you or your project management team can request you like to skip some of the rules, guys. At that time, what you need to do? You need to ask them what rules I need to verify. You only tell them. You only tell. As per that, I will create one custom quality profile. And if I go with the default quality profile, it will verify all the rules. But you are asking to skip some of the rules. If I want to skip some of the rules, I need to create one custom quality profile. Tell me what thing I need to verify in the code. As per that, I will create one custom quality profile. By using that custom quality profile, I will review the code. So here we are going to understand how to create the custom quality profile, how to create the custom quality gates. Everything we are going to understand here. Okay, the main purpose of the Sonar Cube is code review, right? The main purpose of Maven is build the application. The main purpose of GitHub is that we are going to use as source code repository tool. Next, Jenkins is the deployment tool, guys. Okay, how many tools we covered? Maven, GitHub, Jenkins, Sonar Cube. Next, what we are going to discuss? Tomcat. And here we are going to cover Tomcat also. What is this Tomcat? Tomcat is a web server. We will deploy the applications in the Tomcat server. Here, we are going to understand how to set up the Tomcat in the Linux machines. Next, how to deploy the application manually in the Tomcat server. Right. Then we will go to how Jenkins will deploy the application in the Tomcat server. First, I am going to show manually how to deploy the application in the Tomcat server. Then I will come to how Jenkins will deploy the application in the Tomcat server. Then you guys will understand the difference, guys. If you want to do manually, how much it is difficult. If you go with Jenkins, how much easily the deployment is happening, that you can understand easily. That's why first we are going to see manual deployment. Then we will see how Jenkins will do the deployment, guys, automatically. Okay. Next, here Tomcat is what? It is a web server. Web server, guys. Okay, so after Tomcat, what we will discuss, guys? After Tomcat, here we are going to discuss Docker. What is this Docker? Docker is a containerization tool, guys. Docker is a containerization tool. Why we need to go for this Docker? Guys, if you want to manage the application in multiple servers, if you want to manage the application in multiple environments, then we need to go for the Docker, guys. Suppose if you want to manage the application in single machine, in single server, then not required to go for the Docker. But if you want to manage the same application in multiple environments, multiple servers, then Docker must be required. Why Docker is required? See, I have developed one application in my system. Observe carefully, guys. And let me open the paint. See, guys, Docker, Jenkins, Kubernetes. These three are very important tools. Observe carefully. So this is my system. So this is my computer. And I have developed one application in my computer, guys. I have developed one application in my computer, and it is working fine. It is working fine, guys. Now one of my colleague, one of my friend asked me to share this code. Whatever I have developed, he asked me to share that code, guys. Okay, I have given that code to him. I have shared that code, guys. And what is telling, that application is not working in my system. That application is not working in my system is telling us. Why it is not working? It is working fine in my system, I am telling. It is working fine in my system. And why it is not working in your system? Tell me, guys, why it is not working? Observe carefully. Here I have developed the application by using Java. Right? See, for that, here I have used it to develop this application. Observe carefully what technology stack I have used. I have used Java 17 version, and I have used Spring Boot. Right? Spring Boot I have used it here. Right? And I have used microservices. Right? And I have used Kafka. Right? Kafka I have used as a messaging tool. Next, I have used Redis cache. Redis cache. Right? Etc. So database also I have used MySQL. Right? MySQL I have used, guys. So like this, multiple softwares I have used to develop this application, guys. Okay, and one more important thing, right? In my system, to develop that application, whatever the softwares I have used, whatever the libraries I have used, whatever the dependencies I have used, everything should be available in your friend system also. Then only that application will work. See here, I'm using Java 17. Maybe your friend have Java 1.8 version, right? So your friend have Java 1.5 version, right? So here we are using Spring Boot 3.x. Maybe your friend machine Spring Boot 2.x is there. So there is any differences between the versions also, you can't able to run that application in your system. Right? Whatever the softwares I have used, whatever the dependencies I have used, whatever the binaries I have used, whatever the libraries I have used, same, everything should be available in your system also. Then only you can run this application. Otherwise, you can't able to run this application. Finally, whatever I have in my system, everything should be available in your system also. Then only you can run this application. And what your friend will do, hey, please come and set up those things in my system also. Like that he will ask, okay, right? Our friend, only one person, we can go and set up everything in his mission and we will make it ready that application. Okay, other person came, another colleague came and he also asked me to set up. And another colleague came, he also asked me to set up. In how many missions I can do that? And it is very difficult. Right? Each and every mission, if you want to set up all these things manually, it is very difficult. Then what I will do finally? Right? I can't able to do all these things manually. Right? In my system, whatever I have, right? Whatever I have used to run this application, for all those things, right? With all those things, I am going to create one package. I am going to create one package. Inside this package, application code is available. Softwares, whatever I have used, those softwares are available. Dependencies, whatever I have used, those dependencies are available. Libraries are available. Everything is available in this package. And I am going to keep this package in one registry. Right here, we have some storage to keep all these packages. And I am going to keep this package in one registry. And I will tell where this package is available. If anybody wants to run that application in your system, go and take that package from this registry and you can run it directly. You don't need to worry about the software. You don't need to worry about the application code. You don't need to worry about the libraries dependence what I have used, guys. Everything is available inside this package. Directly take that package into your system and run it. It will work. You don't need to ask anyone to set up everything in your mission. So that package, we will call it as a Docker image. That package, we will call it as Docker image. We are going to keep this Docker image in the Docker Hub registry. Right? You need to pull that Docker image from the Docker Hub registry to your system. And you need to start the container. Right? Inside the container, our application is running. Okay? Because of that reason, we need to go for the Docker, guys. Okay, if you don't have the Docker in each and every environment, in each and every mission, you need to go and set up manually. And who will take that headache? So that's why, right, if you want to manage the application in multiple servers, if you want to manage the application in multiple environments, then we need to go for this Docker containerization concept. Okay, by using these Dockers, what we are doing? We are creating the containers. Okay, fine. So we will discuss in detail. Lot of things are there. We will discuss, guys. Here, what is this Docker? Docker is a containerization tool. Docker is a containerization tool. Right. So after this Docker, we will talk about Docker Swarm, guys. Docker Swarm we are going to discuss. What is this Docker Swarm? Guys, by using Docker, you are creating containers. Right. So multiple containers we are creating for our application. One application can contain multiple containers. Right. So now we need to manage all those containers properly. We need to manage the containers which we have created by using Docker. How you can manage those containers? To manage the Docker containers, we should have one orchestration tool. We should have one orchestration tool. Here, right, as an orchestration tool, we are going to use Docker Swarm or Kubernetes. Docker Swarm and Kubernetes both are orchestration tools only. What is orchestration? Orchestration means what? Alright, in manage functions, right, birthday functions, and we will have some team, right, orchestration team, guys. What they will do? And madam, what they will do, guys? Right, so why we are calling as orchestration team, guys? Whatever the instruments they are playing, they will play in proper order, guys. Right, if order miss, right, so what will happen? You won't get properly, guys. So same here also, we need to manage all the containers in proper order. To managing the containers, we should have an orchestration platform. As the orchestration platform, we can use either Docker Swarm or Kubernetes. Both are orchestration platforms only. Okay, right here, what is Docker Swarm? Docker Swarm is a orchestration platform, guys. Orchestration tool. Right, by using this Docker Swarm, what we can do? We can manage the containers which we have created by using Docker. Right, or we have one more orchestration platform, that is Kubernetes. Kubernetes, guys. Kubernetes also orchestration tool only. But in real time, but in the companies, we won't use Docker Swarm. We will use Kubernetes only in real time. Why? In Docker Swarm, we have some limitations. Some drawbacks are there with the Docker Swarm. To overcome the drawbacks only, Kubernetes came into the picture. Kubernetes is the alternative for the Docker Swarm. Okay, what limitations are there in the Docker Swarm? Right, there is no auto scaling facility. There is no load balancing facility. These things are not available in the Docker Swarm. If you want to do these things, manually you need to do. Right, there is no automation for those things in the Docker Swarm. Okay, right, manually, suppose your application is in the production. Right, production means there is a live environment, guys. Right, customers are accessing that application. Right, suppose suddenly traffic is increased. Simple. Right, if you go to Amazon or Flipkart, right, festivals time, you will, right, so you will offer, you will give some offer, they will give some offers, right, festivals time. Right, at that time, what will happen? Lot of requests will come. Lot of people will try to access those applications, guys. Suddenly traffic will be increased, guys. And if you want to handle the traffic, then what you need to do? You need to increase the servers, guys. Number of servers you need to increase. Tomorrow, once that offer validity is completed, again normal flow only will come. At that time, what you need to do? You need to decrease the servers, guys. Right? Can you predict per day how many requests you will get for your application? How many requests you will get per day? Can you able to predict that? You can't. You can't. I don't know per day how many requests will come. So based on the traffic, based on the load, automatically we need to increase the number of servers. Right? Based on the traffic, if required, we need to decrease the number of servers automatically. In the production environment, you can't able to do manually, guys. Right? We can't able to do manually. It should be happen automatically. But if you go with the Docker Swarm, we don't have that facility in the Docker Swarm. Right, there we have manual process. We can't able to do automatically. That's why we will use Kubernetes in the real time case. Kubernetes is the alternative for the Docker Swarm, not for Docker. Guys, please have a look into this. What tools we have written here? As a first tool, we are going to discuss Maven. What is Maven? Maven is a build tool, guys. Next, we are going to understand GitHub. What is GitHub? GitHub is a source code repository tool. Next, we are going to discuss Jenkins. What is this Jenkins? Jenkins is a deployment tool. Next, we are going to understand SonarQube. What is SonarQube? It is a code review tool. Next, we will talk about the Tomcat. What is this Tomcat? Tomcat is a web server. Next, we will talk about Docker. Docker is a containerization tool. Next, we will talk about Docker Swarm and Kubernetes. These two are the orchestration tools. Okay. Next, guys, right, we should understand some monitoring tools also. Right, in the Kubernetes, we have the clusters. How our clusters are running, how nodes are running in the cluster, that everything we need to monitor. For that, we need to use some monitoring tools also. In the Kubernetes cluster, our application is running. How our application is running, all the requests are successfully completing or not. If any request got failed, why that request is failed, we need to understand all those things. And how you can check? And for that, we should have some monitoring tools, guys. What monitoring tools we are going to learn here? Here we are going to learn Prometheus. Prometheus we are going to learn as one of the monitoring tool, and we will talk about the Grafana. Grafana also monitoring tool only, and we will talk about ELK. ELK stands for what, guys? ELK is the combination of three open source products. E means Elasticsearch, L means Logstash, K means Kibana. E stands for what? Elasticsearch. Right. Next, L stands for Logstash. Right. K stands for Kibana. Right. These three are the open source products, guys. ELK stands for 1 minute. LK. Okay. E stands for Elasticsearch. L stands for Logstash. K stands for Kibana, guys. Okay. So these three are the monitoring tools. Prometheus, Grafana, and ELK. These three are the monitoring tools, guys. Next, we are going to understand. Next, we are going to discuss Nexus. What is this Nexus? Nexus is a Artifactory repository tool. Artifactory repository tool. Right. Here we have one repository tool, right? This is the source code repository tool. So this is the artifact repository tool. Both are different. Right? Who will use the source code repository tool? Developers. Developers will upload the code in the source code repository tool. Next, here Maven will build the application. Once Maven build completed, one artifact will be generated. Right? Jar files, var files, those artifacts will be created. Right? We need to keep those artifacts in some location for future purpose. Maybe I need to use the same application in other application, guys. I need to use write this project in other projects. How you can share your project to other team, guys? Right? You need to create the artifact and you need to give that artifact to other project team members. That's why whatever the artifacts Maven is creating, those artifacts we need to keep in one location. And in which location you will keep? In the artifact repository only. And what artifact repositories we have? Nexus is one of the artifact repository and JFrog also one of the artifact repository. Here we are going to understand Nexus, guys. Okay? Guys, have a look into this. After this, one more tool which we are going to cover is Jira. Jira, guys. What is this Jira? Ticketing tool. Right, ticketing tool, guys. Jira is the project management tool or ticketing tool, guys. Right, in the companies, right, they will assign some stories on your name. Right, you need to work on those stories. How they will assign those stories? Where they will log those stories, guys? In the Jira only. Right, in the Jira, you need to search with your ID, guys. In the Jira, you need to search with your ID. Right, then you will get all the stories which are assigned on your name. And you need to pick one by one and you need to complete those stories, guys. Jira is a ticketing tool and every company, right? So most of the companies are using this Jira, guys. Guys, have a look into this. Right? We have so many things. Some people will use Jira, some people will use Citrix, they will use, guys, like that. So many ticketing tools are there. And based on their requirement, they will use the corresponding ticketing tools, guys. Guys, have a look into this. What tools we are going to discuss in the DevOps? First, we will talk about introduction of the DevOps tools. Here I will explain what tools we are going to cover and what is the purpose of each and every tool. I will explain high level, guys. Okay. Next, we are going to understand as a DevOps engineer, what is your day-to-day activities? What is your roles and responsibilities? We are going to understand. Next, we are going to talk about Maven. What is this Maven? Maven is a build tool. Next, we will talk about the GitHub. GitHub is what? It is the source code repository tool. Next, we will talk about Jenkins. What is Jenkins? It is a deployment tool. By using Jenkins only, we will create the CI/CD pipelines. Next, we will talk about SonarQube. What is this? Just it is a code review tool. It will verify the code. It will review the code, how developer written the code, all that. Right? So we'll do by this SonarQube only. Next, we will talk about the Tomcat. What is this? It is a web server where we will deploy the applications. Next, we will talk about the Docker. Docker is a containerization tool. Next, we will talk about the Docker Swarm and Kubernetes. These two are the orchestration tools. Right? Next, we will talk about some of the monitoring tools. What monitoring tools are there? Prometheus, Grafana, ELK stack. Next, we will talk about the Nexus. What is this Nexus? Nexus is the artifact repository tool. Then finally, we will talk about Jira. Jira is the ticketing tool. Guys, have you looked into this DevOps tools once? Git Bash is a client software. Git Bash is a client software, guys. By using Git Bash, we are going to connect with the GitHub, guys. If you want to commit the code, if you want to communicate with that GitHub, then we will use some client software GitHub Bash is one of the client software that we will use from day one onwards. Right, from day one till completing our course, daily we will use that Git Bash. Right, we have some other alternatives also. Instead of Git Bash, you can use Putty also to connect with the resources. I want to connect with AWS Linux machine. Right, instead of the Git Bash, you can use Putty. By using Putty also, you can connect to the Linux machine, guys. Okay, but if you want to, right here, generally companies will follow Putty and Git Bash. Both companies will use, guys. And we have Mavic Stream also. We can use Mavic Stream also to connect with the Linux machines, guys. Like this, we have so many client softwares are available. We need to install those client softwares in our machine to connect with the Linux servers. Ansible, Terraform, I have written in above DevOps AWS course, guys. Online candidates, everyone is clear what we are going to learn in DevOps. Guys, here Kubernetes is very important. We are going to spend almost 30 hours on the Kubernetes, guys. 30, not 13, guys. Kubernetes, you guys will become masters on the Kubernetes. From basics to advanced level, we are going to discuss Kubernetes. 30 hours means don't feel 30 days I will talk about the Kubernetes. Daily, once Kubernetes is started, daily we will spend 2 hours and we will try to finish it in 2 weeks, guys. At 15 days, we will try to complete this Kubernetes. But you guys should become masters in the Kubernetes, then only you guys can work in the real time. And even if you want to attend for the interviews also, Kubernetes is very important. Okay, not only for the DevOps engineers. And for especially Java developers, if you guys don't have this Kubernetes in your resume, it is very difficult to shortlist your profile. Kubernetes is very important for DevOps and developers also, guys. Okay, clear, guys? What is Maven? What is GitHub? What is Jenkins? High level clear. By using Maven, what we are doing? We are going to build the application. Build means what things will come under build, we will discuss that. Next, GitHub, guys. GitHub we are going to use as a source code repository where developers will commit the code. That is called as the source code repository tool, guys. Next, we are going to use Jenkins. By using Jenkins only, we will deploy the applications in the servers. By using Jenkins, we will write the CI/CD pipelines. In the CI/CD pipeline, we need to configure all the stages what Jenkins has to perform. Next, we will talk about the SonarQube. SonarQube is a code review tool. And how developers are written the code. Whether developers are followed the coding standards or not. Everything will reviewed by the SonarQube only. Next, Tomcat. Tomcat is a web server where we will deploy the applications. Next, we are going to understand Docker. Docker is a containerization tool. Here we are going to understand how to write the Docker files. Based on our requirements, we need to write the Docker file. How you will write the Docker file. And from the Docker file, we need to build the images. How to build the Docker images. And we need to upload those images in the registries. How to upload the images in the registries. By using the images, we need to create the containers. How to create the containers. And here we have the Docker volumes. And we have the Docker networking. Lot of concepts are there. Everything we are going to understand it here, guys. Next here, Docker Swarm and Kubernetes. We are not going to spend much time on this Docker Swarm, guys. Right, nothing. Right, so nothing required to spend much time on this Docker Swarm. But one day I will spend on this Docker Swarm. Why? Whatever we are going to learn in the Docker Swarm, everything right we will get in Kubernetes also. But in the real time, right, we will use Kubernetes only. We won't use Docker Swarm. Even in the interviews also, they won't ask single question in the Docker Swarm. Nothing, guys. We won't face any questions in the Docker Swarm. Right? They will ask questions on the Kubernetes only. Right? Kubernetes is the alternative for the Docker Swarm, guys. Right? These monitoring tools also very important. Right? We need to deploy these monitoring softwares also in the Kubernetes cluster. By using these things, we need to monitor the cluster logs and we need to monitor the application logs both. Next, guys, here whatever the artifact Maven is creating, those artifacts we need to upload in the artifact repository. For that, we are going to use Nexus. Right? As a project management tool, we are going to learn Jira. So these are the tools which we are going to cover in the DevOps, guys. Fine. Okay. Next, as part 5, what we are going to discuss? As part 5, we are going to understand real-time projects. Yesterday I told almost we are going to cover 5 real-time projects, guys. What 5 projects we are going to discuss? First one, guys. First one, right? So by using Terraform, we will do one project, guys. Project with Terraform. By using Terraform, we are going to do one end-to-end project. You guys can keep this project in your resume, guys. Next, right, we will do one project by using Ansible, guys. Project with Ansible. Next, so we will do one project by using all monitoring tools, guys. Project with all monitoring tools. Next, right, we will do one project by using Jenkins and Docker, guys. Project with Jenkins and Docker. Right, next, we will do one project with Jenkins, right, GitHub, right, Maven, right, Nexus, right, SonarQube, right, Docker, right, Kubernetes. Right, by using all these tools, we will do one project. See, guys, total we are going to learn 5 real-time projects, guys. You can keep all these projects in your resume, right? First project, don't forget to keep this first project Terraform. Why? Because nowadays companies are expecting Terraform is mandatory, guys. Right? Some companies are recruiting the people who knows only Terraform also. Right? If you keep this Terraform project in your resume, right, quickly your profile will get shortlisted. That's why don't forget to keep the Terraform project in resume. And here at the last, we are going to do one more project by using all the DevOps tools: GitHub, Maven, Jenkins, Nexus, SonarQube, Docker, Kubernetes. By using all the tools also, we are going to do one project. And by using Ansible also, we are going to do one project, guys. And monitoring tools: Prometheus, Grafana, ELK stack. By using these all monitoring tools, we are going to do one project, guys. And by using up to Docker, Jenkins and Docker, up to Docker, we will do one project, guys. Like this, total 5 real-time projects we are going to discuss it here. Okay. Next, guys, if you attend for this part 5, then definitely you will get the confidence, like in the companies, how 4 years experienced people, 5 years experienced people are working confidently. With same confidence, you guys also can work in the companies. Right here, whatever we are going to do in these 5 projects, same things you guys will do in the companies also tomorrow. And here I am going to show end-to-end setup, guys. Everything, complete end-to-end setup I am going to show in front of you guys. Only I am going to do. That's why don't miss this real-time project session especially. Fine. So after this, what we are going to discuss as part 6, we are going to understand Python scripting. As I told, no one is covering this Python scripting in DevOps and AWS cloud course. Right? So people there in the other institutes, they are covering Linux and shell scripting. I'm okay for that. But Python scripting, no one is covering. But nowadays, companies are expecting Python scripting also. Right? In some interviews, I have seen, guys. And once, right, you join in the call, they are opening that Python code in their missions, and they are asking you to explain that code, guys. Right? You should know at least basics. How to write the conditions, how to write the loops, how to write the classes, how to write the functions, what are the different data structures are available in the Python, list, right, the tuple, right, the dict, right, the set, all these are the data structures we have, right, how to work with those data structures, and all those things you should know. Then only, right, you can automate the things by using Python scripting. Tell me, why we will use shell scripting? To automate the regular activities, we are going to use shell scripting. See, daily, guys, once I reach to the office, daily morning, I need to check the servers. I need to check, right, how the jobs are running. I need to check if any job is failed, right, everything I need to monitor. For each and every activity, you need to execute some command. For each and every activity, you need to execute some Linux commands. Then only you will get that information. Suppose you need to execute 100 commands, guys. Is it possible to remember all 100 commands? Is it possible to execute all 100 commands on daily basis manually? It is very difficult. You know, right? That is the regular work. That is the regular work which you need to do. Right? Instead of doing manually, right? So we can automate that regular work, guys. How you can automate that regular work? By using shell scripting. By using scripting, we are going to automate the regular task, guys. Okay, and earlier people used to follow this shell scripting, guys, but nowadays companies are expecting how to automate the things by using Python scripting. That's why here how much Python scripting is required for our DevOps engineer. Up to that level, I am going to cover. Almost I am going to spend 15 hours on the Python scripting, guys. 15 hours we are going to discuss on this Python scripting. Okay, finally, that interview guide. Here what we are going to discuss. In the interview guide part, what we are going to discuss is, guys, here I am going to conduct one separate session for the resume preparation. Why? Because our course content is very huge. So we need to keep everything, guys, in the resumes. Okay, that's why I am going to take a 2 hours session for the resume preparation also. Right here, first I will take resume preparation session. Resume preparation. So next here, how to keep the projects in the resume, how to keep the projects right, in the resume, right? Next guys, how to explain your roles and responsibilities in the interviews, right? That is first question only, right? First question only they will ask, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your roles and responsibilities. First question only they will ask. That's why how to explain, right, roles and responsibilities. How to explain roles and responsibilities in interviews. Okay, next, right, I am going to provide some interview questions, guys. Right, AWS services wise, DevOps tools wise, for each service, for each tool, I will provide the interview questions. Finally, right, we will conduct some mock interviews also, guys. Some mock interviews also we will conduct. This is the part 7, guys. Okay, clear, guys? Right. So let me go through once again. Right, guys, to attend for this DevOps with AWS Cloud, the main prerequisites are Linux command. But here we are going to discuss that Linux commands also. That's why here I mentioned prerequisites are nothing. Okay, right, the entire course content I have divided into multiple parts. As part 1, we are going to discuss introduction of the DevOps. And here you guys will understand what is DevOps, why we need to go for DevOps, what is DevOps life cycle, what is software development life cycle, what methodologies are available in SDLC, what is waterfall methodology, what is Agile methodology, where DevOps engineers involve in the Agile process, where DevOps team will involve in the Agile methodology process. That all those things we are going to understand in part 1, guys. Next, part 2, as I told, the main prerequisites are Linux commands. So that Linux we are going to learn in the part 2. In Linux operating system and shell scripting. What is Linux? Linux is the operating system. That's why first I am going to talk what is operating system. Then I will discuss what is Windows operating system. What is Linux operating system? Right? I will compare Windows and Linux operating system. Then I will talk about the Linux commands. As I told, we are going to spend almost a week on this Linux commands only. 7 to 8 days we are going to spend only on Linux commands. Next, we will discuss shell scripting. We are going to spend 5 days on this shell scripting also. Okay, as part 2, we are going to learn Linux operating system and shell scripting. Then we will come to part 3. What we are going to cover in part 3? AWS Cloud. How many services we are going to cover? 20 plus services. Before going to jump to the actual services, first I will give the overview. What is cloud computing? What advantages we have with this cloud computing? Why we need to go for this cloud computing? If you set up the infrastructure on premises, in-house, then what problems, what challenges we will face, and the services, cloud services, how many ways they have segregated, and introduction of the AWS cloud, and how to create the free tier account in the AWS services overview, and the regions and availability zones in the AWS. All these things we will discuss. Then I will start the actual services. Okay, here almost I have mentioned 20 plus services guys, right? And 21, 22 I mentioned Terraform and Ansible guys. Okay, next guys, right? As part 4 we are going to cover DevOps tools. How many tools we are going to discuss? Almost 15 plus DevOps tools we are going to cover. Okay, here I have noted all the DevOps tools which we are going to discuss. Then we will talk about the real-time projects. How many real-time projects we are going to do? 5 real-time projects we will do. Everything I will do in front of you guys only. From beginning to till end, everything I will do in front of you guys only guys. Then I will discuss Python scripting guys. Okay, how many days we are going to spend on this Python scripting? Almost 15 days we are going to spend on this Python scripting. 15 hours. I'm not saying 15 days guys. Saturday, Sundays we can spend Saturday 3 hours, Sunday 3 hours also. Right? Then we can complete quickly, right? For Python scripting, not required to spend much time guys, right? So we can use that time on this DevOps and AWS. That's why mostly Python scripting I will cover on weekends. Okay, then I will come to this interview guide. In the interview guide, we are going to understand resume preparation, right? How to keep the projects in the resume, and how to explain the roles and responsibilities in the interviews, and interview questions and mock interviews we are going to conduct. Okay, so this is our course content guys. Okay, guys, observe carefully here just to discuss this Linux and operating system and Python scripting and this introduction of the DevOps part guys. These 3 parts, just to cover these 3 parts only, almost 1 month is required guys. Almost 1 month is required. So we are going to spend close to nearly 15 days we are going to spend on this Linux and shell scripting. As I told, 5 days shell scripting is required, and almost 8 to 9 days Linux is required, right? So total 12 to 13 days we are going to spend only on this Linux and shell scripting guys. Okay, so then this introduction part we will spend at least 3 days we are going to spend on this introduction of the DevOps. Okay, then coming to Python scripting, as I told, I will cover that Python scripting on weekends guys. Okay, next, just to complete that AWS cloud we need almost 40 hours. 40 hours we need to complete that AWS cloud. Exclude that Terraform and Ansible. Again, only on Terraform we are going to spend almost 8 days we are going to spend on the Terraform. And Ansible we are going to spend 1 week guys. Right? Terraform and Ansible, both guys, almost 12 to 13 days is required, again those 2 things. Okay, so then DevOps tools guys, right? DevOps tools, 45 days is required on the DevOps tools also guys. Almost 45 days required for the DevOps tools. Then I will try to complete the course on 3.5 months guys. Right? Within 3.5 months I will try to complete this course. Here number of days is not important guys. Everything, right guys, you guys need to keep this course content with you. Right? At the end we covered all these things or not, you can verify. At the end we should cover each and everything what I mentioned at here. Don't think about the number of days, right? 1 week plus or minus it will happen. Right? Festivals will come, right? Saturdays, Sundays will come. Saturdays we have the sessions. Sundays will come. That's why, right, 1 week plus or minus will happen guys. Right? Max 3.5 months is required to complete this entire course. Guys, in other institutes they are telling within 2 months we can complete the course. Just think once how it is possible to complete these many things in 2 months. Right? 20 plus AWS services, 15 plus DevOps tools, Linux, shell scripting, Python scripting, 5 real-time projects. Is it possible to complete within 2 months all these things? How people are promising within 2 months we can complete. And one more thing, they will take only 1 hour session. They will only start, right? They will start sharp 7 and they will close sharp 8. Right? And they won't take the sessions on Sundays, extra sessions. Right? But they will complete everything. I don't know how they are coming. Okay, fine, no problem. See guys, class timings guys, daily class timings. Let me note it down those things here. Class timings, right? 7 p.m. IST, 7 p.m. IST to right 8:30 guys, right? 8:30 p.m. IST. Okay, guys, I will use 1 hour 15 minutes. I will discuss, guys. Last 15 minutes we will spend for doubts clarification. Okay, right. We regular class we will discuss 1 hour 15 minutes. Last 15 minutes we will use for the doubts clarification, guys. Okay, next, guys, daily class notes. 1 minute, guys. Class timing 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Next, guys, Monday to Saturday we have the sessions. Monday to Saturday we have the sessions, and the daily class notes is available. See, guys, at the time of discussing today how I have prepared the notes on the notepad, daily I will do like this only. And simultaneously I will prepare the notes also for you guys. You guys not required to take any running notes. Running notes is not required. Whatever is coming from my mouth, everything I will keep on the notepad. Once class is completed, I will share that notepad, guys. Okay, just so you can go through that. Right. So if you have a look into that notepad, right, you will recollect what we discussed in the class. Okay, daily class notes is available. I am not going to download the class notes from any websites. Right, everything I will write manually and I will share the class notes. Right, class recordings, guys, right, with 1 year access. Class recordings are available with 1 year access. With 1 year access, guys. Okay. And any questions? Class timings Monday to Saturday. Class notes is available. Class recordings also available with 1 year access, guys. So now you guys can ask your questions. If you guys have any questions, now you guys can ask your questions, guys. Online candidates, anyone have any questions? Yeah, Santosh. Anyone have any questions, Santosh? Good. What about others? Soumya?
Yes.
Okay. Right. From tomorrow onwards, we are going to start part 1. What part 1 we are going to discuss? Introduction of the DevOps. Tomorrow, you guys will get complete picture. What is DevOps? Why we are going to DevOps, guys? What is DevOps? Why DevOps? DevOps life cycle. So these 3 things I am going to discuss in tomorrow's session. So with the tomorrow session, you guys are going to get complete picture about the DevOps. Okay? Is it clear? Fine. But today I'm stopping, guys. Right. So tomorrow we are going to start part 1. Right. We are going to spend the first 3 days on this part 1 only. First 3 days by Saturday. Today is Tuesday, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By Friday, I will complete this part 1, guys. Okay, from next Monday onwards, I will start the Linux operating system. Okay, fine, guys. Guys, you guys are not required to take any running notes. Once again, I am telling, please focus on the subject. Please focus, guys. Right, so don't take any running notes. I will share these notes, guys. Once class is completed, I will share these notes in the Telegram, guys. I will create the Telegram group and WhatsApp group. Right, the Telegram group I will use for share this class notes. WhatsApp group I will use for doubts clarification, and Google Drive I will use for records sharing, guys. For recordings purpose, I will use the Google Drive. For doubts clarification, we can use the WhatsApp group. Right, for notes, guys, we will use the Telegram. Okay. And we have 3 groups, guys. Telegram is available. Next, WhatsApp group is available. Next, we have the Google Drive. Okay. Right. Fine, guys. I hope everyone is clear about this course content. Right. Thank you, guys. I'm stopping for today. Tomorrow we will start part 1, guys. Thank you. Good night.